Shout the victory, when we all get to heaven. What a day of rejoicing that will be, and when we all see Jesus, we'll sing and shout the victory.
Ah, boy. Sunday morning, first day of the week. Right? Sunday morning, the first day of the week. I hope and trust that you're all having a great day today. Amen. And if you're not, right, you need to lift up your spirits. And I guarantee you, if you pay attention for the next few minutes, I guarantee you, you should be uplifted somewhat, right? Somewhat, right? Even outside, you look right now, it's raining, right? But that's a blessing to somebody, right? And you can always look at things as a blessing, not as a negative thing. So if you're not feeling too sharp right now, it's not because things aren't sharp, it's just the way you're looking at it. You need to refocus and look at it in a different way, all right? God creates all things good, right? It's just how you perceive things, all right? So sort of snap out of it, right? Brother Craig, he made a comment outside. And then Brother Kingsley, he also made a comment about breaking something. Breaking, right? And sometimes things have to be broken. You gotta break your stride or break your system, break your way of thinking. Because when you start breaking things, it makes two. Or pruning a tree, it causes different growth, right? So if you're not having a great day so far today, today's the first day of the week. Forget about last week. Forget about last night. Forget about an hour ago. Go from right now forward, all right? I guarantee you, and by the end of the lesson, that's my guarantee. I don't know. Just go by. I can't give you eternal life. But I can give you my guarantee. If you pay attention for the next couple of minutes, you should be uplifted, all right?
Amen.
All right. That's just how I feel.
Yes, yes.
All right. First things first, commercials. The only reason why I'm standing up here and doing what I'm doing right now, and not that it's a marvelous thing, right? But it's a responsibility. It's a responsibility to deliver God's word. It takes a certain responsibility. It's a scripture that says, too much that is given, much is given, much is required, right? Too much that is given, much is required, right? It takes a burden and responsibility. If you're given a lot, you have to accept the responsibility that goes along with it. Agree? Right? But I'd like to just commend the congregation here for helping me be who I am. I have excelled in the last year, 2 years. I measured it. I've measured it. I can measure it. I can measure my I'm not bragging, I'm gonna tell you, I'm measurable what I've grown by you as a congregation assisting me. So, you know, clap to you, right? You are helping me, and hopefully I am helping you grow in knowledge and understanding, and also spiritually, right? Also, I'm sort of watching because I have a lot to say. I'd like to highlight Brother Fred Laws. Like I said, too much that is given, much responsibility. And there's so much responsibility as a leader of the congregation, right? He's got to lead. Everything that goes on here is his responsibility, right? It's not that he's, I don't want to say in charge, that he's created everything, but somebody's got to take the lead role. And with that lead role becomes a sense of responsibility. And everybody has to take a burden of responsibility. Everybody has to take a break of that bread, right? Break that bread and have their own piece of responsibility. And everybody has to serve, right? In the Lord's church, right? We're all working together to make this thing work. I just thought I'd just throw that out before I even start, right? Thank you, brother. This is June 8th, right? Actually, I know that because I calculated. This is June 8th. And on January 1st, beginning of the year, we had talked about the beginning of the year. We talked about the year 2014 and certain things that we did as a congregation that are documented that we did way out in January. Believe it or not. And then I remember saying that 2014 is going to be a great year. Right? It promises, that's the word. I can even quote it. It promises to be a great year. And the only reason why I can say it, or we can promise things gonna happen, if we actually work on it. Work on it. And that's the title of my lesson.
Yes.
It's passion, right? When you have a passion for something, it compels you to do certain things. And it's a principle. practice makes perfect. Well, if you are going to work on making 2014 a great year, guaranteed by the end of the year, you would have excelled somewhat. You would have excelled. It's a principle. It's a biblical principle, right? Biblical principle. It's going to be a good year. So far, I calculated, being I'm so smart, right? That today has been 159 days. Don't worry about the grandson. That's a blessing that we have in the congregation. We have young and middle. We have spent 159 days so far this year, right? And I was looking forward to June, because that's like a halfway point of the year, June, right? So I'm going to use this as my point, my chance, my responsibility to get us to think about checks and balances. 159 years. How good have you made your year or our year as a congregation as far as promising to be a good year? What have you done? You can measure. You can measure with yourself based on what you did in January or how you feel spiritually and how you feel now. And then once you check and evaluate yourself, you can project for the next 6 months. Or you have down to days too. 206 days. You got 206 more days that you can reevaluate and break that bread, right? And make changes in your life to guarantee that 2014 is going to be a great year. So it's not all lost right now, okay? What is a good year? Some people will say, oh, good thing is how much money I made. Everything's all about money in this world of advertisement, because they just want you to spend money. The big companies, they just sit down around a board table thinking, how can they get more of your money, right? That's the design of it, right? Good year, but it's not all about money. It's about you being spiritual, how you are serving God. That's what should be your measuring stick. That's what should you evaluate how this year is going to be, whether it's a good year or a bad year. All right, good year. Your knowledge, you can measure that too. Your knowledge, how much knowledge have you gained, or application of the knowledge that you've learned spiritually? How much service have you served the Lord lately in the last 159 days? What is your level of service to God based on what happened 159 days ago? If you're not excelling, you're actually not serving God properly. That's a biblical term. We'll get to that later. Are you sharing more than you shared before? Time, talents. Not everything's about money. Okay? A lot of other references of sharing. Are you growing? Not bigger in weight or fat or anything like that. Are you growing spiritually? Are you giving more? Again, not all about money. Talent, time. Are you giving of your benevolent spirit? Are you helping those in need? Are you giving more compared to 159 days ago? Because these are the things that are going to justify whether you had a good year or not. Are you participating more than you participated before? Are you greeting more? We talked about it in the Bible class. About Sister Kim had been to the hospital and the nurse said, thank you for coming. That's probably not in her job description to be a greeter, but it does make the atmosphere so much better. Are you greeting people more? Are you encouraging more? Are you improving yourself, self-improvement? And that's a hard thing. It's easy to look at other people and what they're doing, but sometimes it's very difficult, and you have to have it in your mindset to always check yourself. What am I doing? How did I do that before, and how can I improve on what I'm doing in the future? And we'll get to that in a couple of minutes. Joy. Joy. It's not all about things or things happening to us. It's about joy. How are you aware of what's going on around you? Like we made the reference about it raining, or things just don't go your way, because you all breathing oxygen right now. Right? God bless you with oxygen. You're here. You woke up this morning. But do you have joy over those simple things? You ate. I'm sure everybody ate. Well, I didn't eat. I just had a cup of coffee. But whatever you had this morning, or a drink or food or whatever, God's blessed you with. You should be happy even to have that. Because there's some people around the world that don't even have what you had this morning. But yet, you can walk around here without joy, right? Open up your eyes. Satisfaction. We go through our lives and not even satisfied what God has blessed us with. Rather being satisfied with what we are being given, but complaining about what we don't have. Measure, that's a measuring stick compared to January to now. And what you need to do is take this information once you evaluate it and project it, what you're going to do for the next 6 months or 206 days that we have left in 2004. And I guarantee you, if you do this, 2014 will be a good year. I guarantee you. All right?
Amen.
So I want you to encourage you to take all those simple notes that I just said in this morning and take them all of them, and use them as your measuring stick. All of them, because all things make a difference. All things make a difference. So you can talk nicely and say, okay, well, I'm going to do a good job of talking nicely, but forget about all the other stuff. Everything makes a difference. Now, if I sit down right now, all I just want you to just know just one thing. Everything makes a difference. Okay? Everything makes a difference. There are some people who say, I'm doing good because I'm giving this much money. And because I'm giving this much money, I don't need to do anything else. But all things make a difference. Okay? Everything.
Right.
And it's important. We'll get to that as well. The title of my lesson is about passion. And I'm an expert with passion because I've been passionate about a lot of things, right? Different things. And any one of those things that I've been passionate about, I could speak for about a couple of hours. And you won't be able to shut me up about any one of those things. And somebody said something about your heart. Was it prayer, I think? And Brother Craig had said something about heart, right? And this lesson I'm doing is from the heart. I can do it without the notes, I guess, right? Because I'm going to tell you what's right inside here. Passion. Passion, I looked up in the dictionary just so I can pinpoint exactly what it means. Passion in the dictionary refers to something that is powerful. When you have passion for something, it's something that's powerful. It's compelling. It's like as much as you want to try to get away from it, if you have a passion for it, it just pulls you back. Some things I'm into right now, I just can't even get away with it. I have a passion for carpentry. As much as I try, I made up my mind. I don't want to do carpentry, and guess what happens? I end up always getting back in the carpentry. I made up my mind. I don't want to do it, but I've got a passion for it that I can't even get away from. I used to have this chicken in primary school. I just loved it. I had a passion for it. I told you this already, right? Eat, sleep, and drink her, right? But anyway, you can have a love for somebody, a passion for somebody, and you just can't turn it off. You just can't, right?
Yes.
It's a powerful, compelling. It's also an emotion. Sometimes I'll get emotional. I'll cry, and I have no control over it. I have no control. So if I cry today, it's because I'm emotional. I have a passion for whatever I'm saying, and it'll just come over me. I have no control over it. And that's what love's all about. And I can equate love to passion. Love and passion. If you love something, time doesn't make no difference. If you have a passion for something, you just spend effort in doing it. You ain't got to check your watch, and the way ain't got to tell you to do it, you just go ahead and do it because you have a passion for it. Passion is also an intense desire. The meaning of passion, it's an intense desire. You talk, you eat, you sleep it, and you live it. You talk, you eat, and you sleep, and you live it. When you have passion for something. When you have passion for something, it makes you extremely happy. Some people spend money just to make themselves happy. But if you have a passion for something like a hobby or something like that, thing will make you happy. If you have a passion for the Lord, just being in the Lord will make you happy. You don't need to do wonderful things. You just have to be passionate about the Lord. Passion makes you happy. When you have a passion for something, nothing else matters. I'm having a passion for something, and I don't even feel like eating. I have to schedule how I eat because I'm so involved in this thing that I'm passionate about. When you're passionate about something, you look forward to it. If you love the Lord and you're passionate about the Lord, guess what? You'll be looking forward to opportunities to serve Him. So you don't wonder why there's a lot of Christians who don't take it personally. There are a lot of Christians who are wondering why the fire in them is going up. Why is the passion going up? How come I don't have that fire for the Lord, right? Right? You know, when you love somebody, it's not a one-off thing. It's not a one-off thing. It's something that you consistently work on. You love one another, and that person loves you back. And it's almost like playing tennis. Yeah, the ball's on this side of the court, and they hit it back. It's a back and forth thing. You don't fall in love, and then that's the end of it. Then you put it down, and, okay, I'm in love now, and I don't have to worry about it no more. You have to constantly work on it, right? It's a biblical term. God is always blessing each and every day, and you need to recognize Him and serve Him each and every day. It's a two-way street. When you have a passion for something, it draws you to people that are like-minded. That makes sense? I used to like boats, and I'll be drawn to people that just want to talk about boats. If I'm into boats, I want to talk about Berlin. The Berlin people want to talk about Berlin, I want to talk about sailing. So I'm going to sort of find my way into a situation where I'm talking about people that like sailing, because that's what I like, right? Like-minded. When you're a Christian and you have a passion for the Lord, guess what happens? Without even thinking, you get drawn to like-minded people, right? That's a biblical term. Passion. Other things is you spend time working on it, you study it, you practice it, you evaluate yourselves in doing it. Evaluate, that's key. And you strive to improve. You strive to improve. If you have a passion for something, you don't just want to just sit on it. What you want to do is get better and better at whatever this thing is. Passion. The Bible has terms of abounding and excelling. Abounding and excelling. And I wasn't too sure about abounding, so I looked it up. Abounding means filled or overflowing. When you're abounding in love of Christ, you're filled with it, and you're overflowing with it. And it becomes part of you. And when these things happen, guess what happens? You start projecting to others. That's why people can see you as a Christian and say, I know that person's a Christian. Because the thing, you're filled with it, and it's, you're projecting it to others. That's why people can tell if you're a Christian or not. By the things or how you carry yourself. You're abounding in it. And then excelling. I had to look that up just to make sure I get it. Excel, to excel is to surpass, to rise high, to exceed, to be proficient, or to get better at it. Now, how can you excel at something if you don't measure? How can you be better if you never reference yourself in the first place? To excel, you always have to evaluate yourself. Measurements, right? That's how you're going to have a good year. By measuring where you started, measure someone in the middle or by the quarter, and then set a goal towards the end and say, I would like to be here. And you strive to get there. But you never have a goal, you never have the inclination on a daily basis to improve yourself. And that's why there are Christians around want to go, well, I don't know why I don't have no fire for Christ or whatever. The reason why, because they don't have no bills. They're not working on it on a daily basis. They're not getting the joy. They're the ones that are going to be complaining inside and out. All things are God blessing, and they don't even see the blessings. But so they're just caught up on all the negative stuff. They're missing out on the joy. Got my notes, but I keep myself on track. Got to evaluate myself even while I do this thing. And I'll do more attention. The invitation song is I Keep Falling in Love with Him. Every time I was doing this lesson, every time I picked it up and started working on it, I started singing this song. And then I started something about the words. So into my lesson, I'm gonna put the song in there. It says, I keep falling in love with Him over and over and over and over again. Hold on. Right? You're making it personal. The song is making it personal. I, not you. I keep falling in love with Him. To keep, if you keep doing it, don't mean it's a one-off thing. It means it's happening over and over again, right? So I keep, right? I consistently do this thing. I keep falling in love or have this passion with Him, with Christ. Okay? That's the words of the song. I keep falling. I keep having passion for Him. I keep falling in love with Him. How much? Over and over again. When you have passion, you're going to do it over and over again. Agree? I keep falling in love with Him over and over and over and over again. I keep falling in love with Him over and over again, over and over again. he gets sweeter and sweeter. Another thing on measurement. First of all, something sweet. For something to be sweeter, you have to have the first sweet. So sweet, sweeter, and sweeter, right? It's a comparison. It's a bounding. You're excelling. When I was talking about excelling, if you have a passion for Christ or anything, you're going to excel. It's going to get sweeter and sweeter. And then it goes on as the days go by. It's a measurement of time. You excel over a period of time. It's another measurement. You do it on a daily basis. You know, it's not a one-off thing. It's something that you do it on a daily basis. It could be an hourly basis, right? You get sweeter and sweeter as the days go by, all right? All right. I'm going to set up something. And we're going to sing this while I'm setting it up, and then we'll get a better understanding as we go along, okay? I keep falling in love with him over and over and over and over again.
Well, I keep falling in love with him over and over and over and over again. And he gets sweeter and sweeter as the days go by. And oh, what a love between my Lord and I. I keep falling in love with him over and over and over and over again. And he keeps blessing me over and over and over and over and over again. Well, he keeps blessing me over and over and over and over and over again. He gets sweeter and sweeter as the days go by. Oh, what a love between my Lord and I keep falling in love with him over and over and over and over again.
Amen. Talking about passion, right? I'm going to preach from the heart. What I'm going to do is tell you something, just one of the things that I have a passion for. But I had a passion for racing model boats. Now, Kim had said about sailboats, right? Well, that's something I sort of gave up to. But before these sailboats were motorboats. This is a nitro boat. It has 2 motors in it. So I'm going to speak for the next couple of minutes about passion, and from my experience about passion. Some people, mostly women, right, would say that this is a toy, right? But it's no toy. It's a technical piece of machinery, right? It actually is more technical than the bigger boats, believe it or not. So I'm going to run through it with my passion, all the different things that are related to racing this boat, okay? All right. Hopefully by the end you have some idea about passion, okay? All right, I'll get technical. I'll start at the back. See down here, I say props, right? That's a whole different, that's a whole study just on props. I know it's a whole boat,
Yes.
but to race at a certain level, on an international level, you have to know all there is to know. Most people just study about props. About props. It has the leading edge, right? It needs to be sharp as a razor blade. Actually, these will cut you if you're not careful. It will cut you wide open. If you make them as sharp can be, because it creates less drag when that blade is just grabbing. Blade has sometimes you have 2 blades or 3 blades. The most efficient with this type of boat is 2 blades. But you make that blade as efficient as possible. You make that front edge so there's no resistance. Every time it's grabbing, like you swimming, right? You swimming, every hand is just grabbing the water. That's what that prop does. But the props also have different pitches. And that's the angle that the blades are on. That's how much it's going to grab the water, right? If you have it grabbing too much, it puts too much strain on the motor.
Right.
If you don't have enough grab or enough pitch, the props are just spinning and you ain't really going anywhere. So you gotta find the right balance. But it's a whole science just in props. And then in the props you have a built-in things called cups, and they're on different numbers. So you have a whole stack of props based on different water conditions and stuff like that, or how you want the boat to sit in the water has a lot to do with those props. The cup is how the water gets thrown from the prop. For example, if you take a ball of basketball and you don't use your hand, tape it up stiff, and you'll be using your body, your elbow, your shoulder, but you won't be able to use your wrist. But the prop with the cup in it actually throws it like that, right? So you, boom, So the cup on the prop throws the water. Now on the prop, you'll see that these props have a round little edge right here. Some of them are round, some of them have corners. And what that does is it controls how the water gets thrown from the prop. Sometimes you want the water to throw it out, but sometimes you want the water to get thrown back, depending on how you want the boat to have its attitude in the water, different conditions. So you have to have a science of props just to be competitive, in this, what people will call a toy. Now these props are attached to struts. That's it. The props are attached to these struts. These struts are adjustable, where you can adjust the height. That's the height of the props. The props can be deep in the water or high in the water, and what that does, it also changes the attitude of the front of the boat. It'll make the boat either lift up high or dig into the water, depending on how you want the boat to sit in the water while you're racing. Okay? The props are connected through a flex shaft to the motors. They have different size motors. And motors are motors, because they're all when you're racing, they're all in a particular class. They have different class motors. But if you're racing, what you want your motor to do is to run as efficiently as possible according to your package. Your package is your props, your motor, and the pipes, in general terms. So you can adjust your motors to suit your racing needs. You might want a bigger carburetor. Carburetor is what mixes the gas and the air mixture together, and your gas can be mixed lean, which means it has more air in it, or it can be mixed fat, which has more oil in it. But you don't want it too lean and you don't want it too fat, right? Because you want it to be as efficient as possible. But it's a science just in that. In the motors, we've got so many different components just in the motor, and it's a science. But if you don't have a passion for it, if you don't have a passion, the thing just becomes a toy and you will not be competitive at all, right? You've got to have a passion, which means you've got to take time to actually study these things and be knowledgeable about simple things as the motor. And you see these things, most people might think they're mufflers, but they're not mufflers. When you're racing, these are called tune pipes. And what they do is they supercharge the motors. And it's a science just in these pipes, or so-called mufflers. There's a whole different science, and it gets down to waves, right? Light travels in waves, sound travels in waves, right? The energy, your exhaust, travels in waves. And what you can do in a science, if you study it and you have a passion for it, is you study these waves, and based on the length of the pipe or the diameter of the pipe, what it does is the exhaust that comes from any vehicle, right? The exhaust isn't all bad or spent up on fuel. Some of the fuel isn't been burned. So you can take that fuel and throw it back into the chamber, the motor, and it'll reburn again. And that's included with the fresh stuff that's coming in from the carburetor. And that's where you get that term supercharge. You ever heard the word supercharge or turbo? Well, these boats are supercharged and they're turbo. All right? And you might think it's a toy, but all this is calculated because you can calculate at what speed this is going to kick in. You can calculate how, it's called a power band, how long this power band is going to last. You can calculate that, but it's a science, and you have to have a passion for it to even understand how to put all these packages together. Okay? All right. This boat is called a rigger, called an outrigger, because it's the main body of the boat, and then these are called sponsons. So that when the boat's just sitting in the water, everything's touching the water, this boat's heavy. It's just sitting in the water. But when the boat starts getting up to speed, what happens is the boat lifts out of the water. It lifts out of the water, and only the tips right here, this tip, and the props are sitting in the water. And then this drags in, this is a knife, I'll get to that, and this steers the boat, that's right. But when this boat is running full bore, it's only the tips are just touching the water. They're just almost like a flying boat, right? But all that is a technology, and it takes a passion to put it in the design to make this boat go. Especially if you have 8 other boats in the water, and they're all trying to come first, right?
Yes.
It's technology. Okay. See these sponsons? You might think that these sponsons are just sitting flat there, but they're not. Because it's a science just in the shape of those sponsons, the size of them, the angle that they're at, right? right? This is a term called tabling the boat. That's when you put it on a flat surface, and it has to be perfectly flat. Some people use glass, or a flat piece of aluminum, metal, or you got a real flat table. The table has to be like flat, because you put this boat on a table, and there are specific measurements for where it touches the table, and certain elements where it has to be off the table. And these put angles of these sponsons. So believe it or not, in the science of this boat, is that this sponson is up higher than this sponson. And the reason for it, because this blade right here has got drag in the water. So going at like 80 or 90 miles an hour, this is a lot of drag for the boat. So that needs to be compensated in the design or setup of your boat, okay? It's a lot of technology, and it takes passion and study, and it just don't come to you. You just can't read it once, and then all say, I know how to do it. So you tell me, no, it's a study of it. And you have to practice, and check it out, and reset and set. That's why you see those guys out there, they'll put their boat overboard and they pull it up. They put their boat overboard, pull it up because it's not a toy. They're studying the science of it. It's a science of it. See this blade here? It's a blade, so when it's going straight down the straightaway, that blade really isn't doing anything. But imagine you were going down the causeway, right? Not the causeway. What's it called, the other road? Kidney Field Road. Imagine you're going down Kidney Field Road. I know you like speed, so don't lie, you like speed. You probably go about 30 and the speed limit is 20, right? But just imagine if you're going 30. You triple that and you're going 90, right? So these boats go over 100, so I'm not exaggerating. Just imagine you triple your speed. You're going 90 down Kidney Field Road, right? You get towards St. David's Roundabout, right? But you don't touch brakes. You keep the same speed, right? And you go around the corner and you come back in your car. What's going to happen to you? You're going 90 miles an hour and you go around that roundabout and go back towards the airport. What's going to happen to you? You're going to roll over, right? I don't care if you're in a car, you're on a bike. If you're going at that speed, you're going to flip, right? That's what that knife is for. That's what this blade here is for. When this thing's going around the corner, that blade digs in to the water and hurls this boat from flipping over. But it's a science just in that. You don't go to Kmart and buy that blade. It has to be made. It has to have certain angles because when it's going along the straightaway, you don't want this thing to fly or dig into the water. You want that to be as less resistant as possible. But when it hits that corner, you want that thing to dig and hold this boat at a certain attitude. So when you're going around the track, you can squeeze the trigger all the way around the thing, all the way. There are other little techniques in it, but that's what the blade itself is just a science of that. The rudder, you might say, oh, a rudder's a rudder. Well, it's a science just in the rudder. It could be different lengths, rips, sharpness, the front edge is going to be sharp, the angle, and it's all adjustable. It's all adjustable. This is the science that goes into this so-called toy, right? Also, I just show you as I close. There's some hoses right here, right? And there's so much science into this thing. The tune pipes create pressure when exhaust goes through it, right? Because there's so much explosion that comes out of here, and it's a little hill for the exhaust to get out. So it's a lot of pressure in these pipes. But the boat itself is designed to use that pressure, being it's going so fast, right? That the gas tanks are pressurized. The pressure from the exhaust pressurizes the fuel and pushes it into the carburetors because the boats are going so fast, making it as efficient as possible. So when you're racing stuff like this, which I've had a passion for, it doesn't take days or weeks. It takes years of study. And another thing is good that I'm going to say happened to me is I had a mentor. I had a guy that used to race professionally, like overseas, and he mentored me. And I can reflect and say, yeah, that was a good thing. But before I started, he said, every time you go to practice, practice as if you were racing. So I'll go out there with my table, I'll go out there with all my stuff, and stuff that you probably don't need. But if you practice like as if you're perfect, you'll start creating being perfect. Agree? Understand that? If you start something halfway, it's going to end up halfway. If you start something with all your checks and balances, most likely you'll have better success. And the same thing with these models. you put your all into it, your passion into it, you're guaranteed, well not guaranteed, most likely your chances of success are so much greater, right? Passion. I can speak about passion from your heart because all the things like the definitions of passion I had through this book. Okay? Just a reference. Now I'm going back to the last slide. Any questions? New questions? All right. Passion. Turn in your Bibles to Matthew 22. Now I'm going to take this thing. You can take this, what I said here, and apply it to your Christian walk. I guarantee you're going to have some fire. You're going to have some fire. Turn to Matthew 22. Chapter 22, verse 37 to 38. Matthew 22, verse 37 to 38. You got that, Brother Bart? You can read it. I get tired of talking sometimes.
Jesus said unto him, Thou shalt love the Lord thy God with all thy heart, and with all thy soul, and with all thy mind. This is the first and great commandment.
All right. Love. Remember I was talking about love and equating that to passion? Now, if you love the Lord, you'll have this passion for the Lord. If you love the Lord, your God, with all your heart, you have this passion with all your heart, your soul, and your mind, right? Good things are guaranteed to happen to you. Because that definition I said about passion, that time makes no difference, that you're going to be looking forward to it, all those good things that come bring passion to your life, it's going to be there for you. Love the Lord. If you love something, you're going to spend time on it. You're going to care it. You're going to cherish it. You're going to grow it, right? You're going to have passion for the Lord. One thing about loving the Lord with passion is that you constantly have to pursue it. Now, I'm going to equate that to this. I haven't raced this boat in a couple of years, right? And at one time, I was at the cutting edge, right? It was just like, bam, bam, bam. I could just bam, bam, bam. If I meant to go race this boat right now, I wouldn't even be in the ballpark of competition. You want to know why? Because I haven't worked on it yet. I haven't sharpened up my skills. I've put it down. And that's a biblical principle that we're going to get to later. You'll constantly have to work on it daily. You're going to pursue it on a daily basis. I keep falling in love with him over and over again, right? Every day. Passion. If you're going to love the Lord with passion, you have to pursue him on a daily basis. Turn to Revelation 3, chapter 15 and 16. Revelation chapter 3. Verse 15 and 16. What does that say, Rob?
I know thy works, that thou art neither cold nor hot. I would thou wert cold or hot. So then, because thou art lukewarm, and neither cold nor hot, I will spew thee out of my mouth.
Amen. If you have a passion for something, it's going to make you hot. And if you don't have a passion for it, it's going to make you cold. Agree? Bible just said, right? Cold or hot. But what does God prefer you to be? He says he will prefer you to be either hot or cold. What does he not like? Lukewarm. Being lukewarm is dangerous. God himself said, this is Jesus, he would rather you be hot or cold. Just don't be lukewarm. In a spiritual sense, God said you could be either be a Christian or not be a Christian. But don't be a halfway Christian. But that's not acceptable. You want to put your all into things. Don't be a halfway Christian. That's to know good and not do it. To know to do good things and not choose not to do it is worse than somebody that just don't know at all. That makes sense? That's Bible for you. That's Bible for you. He'll rather you be hot or cold, just don't be lukewarm. Have a passion. Have a passion for something. Have your passion for something. Even if it's not the right thing, but I'm being honest. I'm going to preach from your heart. Even if we're not even talking about the Lord, we should be passionate about something in our lives. There are people in the world that have a passion for absolutely nothing. Absolutely nothing. I would respect somebody that has a passion for something. At least I can respect them for that. And maybe I can say, well, you can be passionate about this boat. The same way I'm passionate about this boat, you can be passionate about the Lord. God chose, he took him, became a Christian, and he became one of the lead apostles. Right? He wasn't lukewarm. He was passionate about what he was doing. He doesn't like you to be lukewarm. In verse 17, the Bible says, because thou sayest, I am rich, and increase with goods, and have need of nothing. Some of us excel in something, so much so that they feel that they have arrived. And it don't have to be money. It could be knowledge. It could be a Christian that has been a Christian for 20 years. Oh, I've been a Christian for 20 years, and okay, I'm done my piece, and I'm gonna cool out. It's just like the reference here. Because thou sayest, I am rich, and increase with goods, and have no need of nothing. Jesus goes on to say, and knowest not that thou art wretched, and miserable, and poor, and blind, and naked. As soon as you stop doing what you're doing with passion, guess what happens? You start losing it, and you don't even know it. First thing it says there, and knowest not. You don't even realize it. You ever been swimming in Flats Bridge with your tide going through? You stop swimming, guess what happens? They're going. You can be out in the middle of the ocean, right, and don't even realize that you're moving. Because the tide's got you. Or the wind, or the waves have got you. As soon as you stop with your passion, guess what happens? You start moving in the wrong direction, and you don't even know it. You don't even know it. In verse 19, it says, as many as I love, I rebuke and chasten. I correct you, because I love you, right? And it goes on to say, be zealous. I implore you to be zealous for 2000.